That's not surprising. I mean, I've been in that building, whether it was as a recruit or as a player, and even as an announcer at times where it's like, this is as loud of a place as you will be in. I mean, it's ridiculous. I think Purdue's right there with it. I think there's a couple other venues, Fog Allen for one, that you would say is comparable. But when there's a big game at Indiana, and I visited for the Reddick, Sheldon Williams, Josh McRoberts Big Ten ACC Challenge game, and I believe that had been 05. And I'll never forget Marco Killingsworth, who was a good player, transferred from Auburn to come play for Mike Davis at Indiana. He got a dunk at the under 8 timeout, and it forced Duke to call timeout to go to the media timeout. And I was like in awe of the noise.
Yeah.
It was like the roof was blowing off Assembly Hall. It really was. And I was just amazed at how loud it was in there for that. And then as a player, I saw it. We played in my junior year. We were in the top 10. Indiana was still kind of rebuilding. And Jordan Holmes made a 3 with like 6 to play to take the lead. And they were not good that season. And it was just like the arena was like shaking. And it was really unbelievable. That's a big time college basketball venue. As a fan, as a player, as a media member, I mean, whatever. It's just awesome. Like it's an awesome place to watch a college basketball game.
And they're so hungry for it right now.
They want it so bad after the last 10 years or, I guess even 20 years, since they've been to the Final Four in 2002. So I'm not surprised it was that type of environment. I'm not surprised that Indiana played really well. I am surprised that Carolina looks the way that they do. They just look like they're out there playing pickup at times. And I don't mean that in like a scheme way, or it's just they don't look like it didn't look like it meant as much to Carolina last night as it meant to Indiana.
Okay. So I'll push back on you and say, like, all right, this Carolina team, the reason they're not as interested and engaged is because they learned what they could do last year, that the regular season didn't mean shit.
That's a dangerous game.
Agreed.
That's not the way that you should approach. And that's a good way to lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament, if that's the truth. And we don't know if it is. I mean, that's you can't skate by and get an 8 seed and be like, well, we'll just beat the 1 seed in the second game like they did with Baylor last year. That would be foolish. And I hope for Carolina's sake that's not what they're doing. I've now seen them twice in person and watched the game last night. I mean, Caleb Love is just so up and down. I texted you after the first game in Portland because you had said, like, we'll see how he plays. And I was like, well, he's balling.
Well, I'm just
– That was against Portland, not a great opponent, a solid opponent. Right. And then I had him against Iowa State. And, I mean, he took a shot that is one of the worst shots I've ever seen in that game, where he shot this floater. I took a video of it when I went back and watched the clip in the game. It was like 30 feet in the air. The ball leaves the screen like a rocket taking off from some launching pad. I mean, it's just like the ball is so out of the focus of the camera.
Who do you blame this on? Who do you blame Caleb Love's freedom, his AAU basketball persona? Because it looks like he's playing AAU ball out there a lot of times. It didn't early last night. Early last night, he actually, I feel like he almost wanted to prove a point. Like he banked one in early, and then he really didn't shoot again for a while. Yeah. And I wonder if he was like proving a point, like, you guys can't win without me being Caleb Love.
I don't know, though, because against Portland, he played the right way the entire game. He was phenomenal. Now, he made shots, too. He was like 9 of 11 from the field. But he was, when he came off the pick and roll in that game and he should pass, he passed. When he should shoot, he shot. You have to say it's on the coaching staff. I mean, they're the ones that are telling him what's a good shot, what's a bad shot, what do we need from you? And I know Hubert Davis told us the shoot-arounds, I've challenged Caleb to lead the ACC in assists. And I mean, that's going to be a hard bargain with him. He's a scoring guard.
I'm not even sure I want him. Rob, I'm not even sure I want him to lead the –
You need to be who you are. Like when you're a scorer and you're trying to lead the league in assists, which most games I watch him, I don't think that's what he's trying. But that can be detrimental because that's not what he's going to be. But of course, if you're Caleb Love and you're looking at this you'd think, well, if I'm not a combo or a point, how am I going to play in the NBA at the next level? Because that's what they were going to make me be.
Yes.
But you have to be who you are at the end of the day. I think Hubert Davis walks a very fine line with Caleb Love in the sense that you need him to score. Like, you made this run because he was on this incredible scoring heater last year, making shots. But at the same time, that aggressiveness at times is too much. And now you're taking awful shots. You're jacking. I mean, the fact that he took 36 shots in the Alabama, I know it was 4 overtimes, but I don't know if I've ever seen anyone take 36 shots in a college game. That's a wild number. I just think you're walking such a fine line of, like, you are out of control to we need you to score. Yeah. And on top of that, their bench gives them hardly nothing. I mean, DeMarco Dunn played 16 minutes last night, had 5 points. Puff Johnson plays. Trimble 8 minutes. Tyler Nickel, he got in for like seven seconds in Portland and just jacked a bad shot and got back cut and then never played again. He played 53 seconds last night.
Yeah, I just don't know who to put the blame on because, again, I feel like a lot of this is on Hubert. And I love him. He's like the nicest human being in the world. But is he too positive? Because they got done with their third game out there in Portland. They go 1-2, and they lose in 4 overtimes to Alabama. And he's talking about how proud he is of this team. And I'm like,
for handling the expectations?
For their effort, for more of their effort. Right?
I didn't think that, and I didn't get to watch the Bama game because
it wasn't bad.
I was doing our game, but their effort was not the problem.
Execution was the problem.
They turned it over against Iowa State 4 times with Armando Bacot handling in the last 4 minutes of the game. Executing was the problem.
It was the offensive execution on both ends was atrocious. But again, for Alabama, you understand it. Javon Quinterly's been back for 2 weeks. Brandon Miller's a freshman. This is a whole new team at Alabama. It is the same damn team, the same, core guys, 4 of them at Carolina that basically almost won the national title. I'm not saying you got to pick up exactly where you left off, but you should be picking up closer to where you left off than where you were last November or December. And I think they're closer to the team. Listen, I left them in at 25 in my poll today. They probably shouldn't even be in. Yeah. I mean, the way they played, the only reason I'm leaving them in is because of what they did last year for the most part. Otherwise, there's no way they'd be in there. They're playing listless basketball. That's my biggest problem with them is they have no emotion. They, again, look like they've never played basketball together before. And that's an issue right now.
I just think from watching them a little bit, they look like a team who's just been told all summer how amazing they were. And, I mean, think about from a Carolina perspective, if you're the team that you beat Mike Krzyzewski in his last game at Cameron. Then you make this incredible run to the Final Four, and you beat Mike Krzyzewski in his last college game ever. And you end up coming at a few plays away from winning the national title. And I just think that that's what they look like. All these coaches always talk about how, the clippings and whatnot, it can't hurt you if you don't read them. And if you don't take the poison.
They're reading them.
If you don't drink it, it won't kill you, right? They are downing the poison. That's what I would say. It just looks like that from an outsider looking in, and we're not there every day. We don't see the way that they've practiced or had individual workouts all summer or whatever. But to me, that's what it looks like. It looks like they were crowned, and now it's a harsh reality of, like, last year does not matter. Iowa State didn't give a shit that they were in the national championship game last year. Indiana last night didn't give a shit that they were in the national championship game last year. And Indiana played really well. I mean, they imposed their will on North Carolina. The defensive pressure had Carolina so pushed out, so outside of their comfort zone. I think Bill has said it on the broadcast. Carolina's played one-on-one the whole time, but it's because they've had to.
Right.
They can't get into their offense.
No, and it's a combination of bad offense by Carolina, and Indiana is really, really good defense.
They heat you up, and I love the way that they're playing in transition, especially with the fact that you've got most of the time 5 guys on the floor that can take it off the glass and push the tempo. And Trace Jackson Davis even can take rebounds and start the break. Xavier Johnson is as fast as anybody in the Big Ten, and you get contributions.
Put your feet.
No, He's pushing the tempo too. Got off to a great start. I thought Trey Galloway played really, really well. They're a good team. Indiana's a good basketball team.
They are. I mean, the one thing I still worry about is can they shoot the basketball? Right? They didn't have to last night because Carolina couldn't.
The only thing that Indiana did that I thought really kept Carolina in the game was their fouling. Carolina shot 27 foul shots. That's something that you got to clean up if you're the Hoosiers. But it's gonna be a really interesting test for them Saturday. They go to Rutgers, riding high off this win. And
then they have Arizona coming up in Vegas. So this is almost like a trap game a little.
And to go into that place with a trap game, it's
going to be love trap games.
Yeah, I thrived in trap games. What can I say? I just think that I know the building's going to be sold out, and Rutgers that environment's going to be.
And now
terrific.
People are kissing Indiana's ass, Rob. Like now, think of it in Bloomington, and you've been there. You've been there at Purdue. Right? When you've had these big wins and you guys ascended to top 5 status, everybody's kissing your ass, aren't they?
Yeah, but I think that they've got an older group. I mean, Trace Jackson Davis has been through this. Xavier Johnson.
But they've never been through this. They've never had ass kissing.
I agree. But until that happens, I'm not going to say that that's going to bother them. It might. Okay. But I think that it's unfair to say that, they're going to feel crowned.
I'm not saying they're going to. I'm saying they got to deal with this now. They got to deal with something different. And that becomes different.
And I think there's something to be said about learning how to win at the highest level in college basketball. We'll see. We will see if this group has the maturity to handle that type of win and now a really tough conference game sandwiched in between a massive showdown in Vegas with Arizona.